The ocean is vast, deep and full of undiscovered mysteries. In the dark depths of the ocean, where sunlight cannot reach, there are giant creatures hiding. And it is there that brave Japanese fishermen are struggling with the waves and winds every day to hunt for giant squids, one of the most mysterious and terrifying creatures on the seabed. To catch them, they have to use fishing lines hundreds of meters long, lowered into the deep, where even large fish are wary. The ships leave the dock before dawn. Heading out to sea with the hope of a bumper catch, bringing in hundreds of giant squids every day. But this is not just a job, but a real battle between humans and nature, between perseverance and the harshness of the ocean. Every time a squid is hooked, it is a tense and challenging moment. Giant squids are not easily subdued. They struggled violently, pulling the strong steel fishing lines, forcing the fishermen to use all their strength to pull them onto the boat. Some were several meters long, weighing hundreds of kilograms. Their bodies were smooth, but their tentacles were powerful, tightly wrapped around the fishing lines. Trying to escape, experienced fishermen understood that with just a little carelessness, the squid could easily escape and disappear into the darkness of the ocean. When the squid was pulled out of the water, seawater splashed. Its giant body trembled. The tentacles still twitched as if they had not accepted defeat. Getting a squid onto the boat was already an effort, but the work did not stop there. The men on the deck immediately rushed to prepare it, keeping the squid meat as fresh as possible. Just a little delay would reduce the quality, which meant the value would also be affected. Therefore, everything had to happen quickly, neatly and accurately. At sea, time waits for no one. When the sun rises, work continues without stopping. The fishermen, though exhausted, still take turns working, because they know that if they are not careful, nature can take everything back. The sea is never easy. Big waves can suddenly come, strong winds can sweep everything away, and sudden storms can sink the entire ship in the blink of an eye. But despite all the dangers, they still stick to the sea, because it is not only work, but also pride, the life they have chosen, after being caught and processed. The giant squid will be preserved right on the ship to keep it fresh. Some will be frozen immediately, while others will be pre-processed to prepare to be brought back to the mainland. Japan is famous for the art of seafood processing, and giant squid is no exception. Each slice of fresh squid can become premium sashimi, with a rich flavor and just the right amount of chewiness to captivate diners. Others will be dried and marinated to create specialty dishes that are popular all over the world. Each step requires meticulousness, skill and many years of experience. But catching giant squid is not just a profession, but also a challenge of perseverance and determination. Days drifting at sea are no place for weakness. When the sun sets, the boat continues to cast its line, continuing its journey in the endless darkness of the ocean. On the boat, the sound of machinery, the sound of waves, the sound of fishing lines being pulled up never stops. The men, no matter how tired they are, still try to complete the job, because they understand that this is their life, the source of income for their families. Those who are not used to it can easily give up, but for those who have spent their whole lives at sea, They have learned to accept and adapt. After many days of fishing, when the boat finally heads to shore, it is time for them to breathe a sigh of relief. They carry the fruits of their hard work, hundreds of giant squid. Carefully packed, ready to be sent to market. When the boat docks, the fishing port becomes busier than ever. Trucks are waiting. Traders quickly come to check the quality, place orders, and transport the squid to restaurants, seafood markets, and processing facilities. But even when a trip ends, they still do not have time to rest for too long, because the sea is still there. The giant squid is still waiting, and the boats must be ready to set sail again. The life of giant squid fishermen is a story of perseverance, courage, and the spirit of never giving up. They understand that the sea is not always gentle, that every trip carries unforeseen risks. But they also understand that without them, no one would be able to bring giant squids from the depths of the ocean to the tables of diners. Despite facing long days at sea, bitter cold, and fierce waves, they continue, because this is the life they have chosen, a tradition they are proud to preserve. And so, day or night, calm or rough seas, the ships still leave the dock, still rush out to sea, still cling to the sea as an indispensable part of their lives. Because for them, the ocean is not only a workplace, but also a home, a passion, a life, and each giant squid pulled up from the deep sea is not only a trophy, but also a testament to the perseverance and courage of people who never give up in the face of nature. The sea never sleeps, and neither do the fishermen. When a fishing trip has just ended, they only have a few short days on land to repair the boat, prepare equipment, refuel and replenish food before continuing a new journey. The days on land are not exactly a rest, because their minds are still on the sea, on the giant squids still swimming in the deep, waiting to be pulled up to the deck. Each trip brings hope, but also comes with risks that no one can foresee. Back at sea, the ship swayed with each wave, rushing through the vast space, where the sky and the water seemed to merge. The fishermen stood on the deck, their sharp eyes looking towards the horizon, where they would cast their fishing lines hundreds of meters long into the deep. Choosing a fishing spot was not simple. They had to rely on experience, on modern fish-finding equipment, and even on their intuition. A wrong decision could cause them to waste an entire day without catching anything. But if they were lucky, they would pull up dozens, even hundreds of giant squid, a worthy trophy for the long days at sea. The process of pulling the squid onto the ship was a real battle. Every time a squid was hooked, the fishing line would vibrate violently, signaling that a giant creature was struggling below. The fishermen quickly rushed over, joining forces to pull the fishing lines up. Bit by bit, a feeling of tension spread throughout the deck. They could not let the squid escape, but they could not let the fishing line break because the pulling force was too strong. At times, the squid would resist violently, spitting out jets of black ink, making the entire deck of the ship dark. The fishermen had to use all their strength to hold the squid tightly, controlling the muscular tentacles that were thrashing vigorously. When the squid was finally pulled out of the water, A feeling of excitement spread. It was the result of perseverance. Determination, and even recklessness that only those who worked at sea could understand. But there was no time to celebrate. As soon as a squid was brought onto the ship, the preliminary processing had to begin immediately. Otherwise, the quality of the squid meat would decline rapidly. The men with calloused hands quickly used sharp knives to cut off the tentacles, clean the organs, and store the meat in cold storage. Each squid was meticulously processed, ensuring that when it reached the consumer, it would still retain its freshness. The days at sea pass in a non-stop cycle: catching, processing, preserving, continuing to fish. Everything repeats like a pre-programmed machine, but never gets boring, because each day brings new challenges. There are days when the sea is calm, the work goes smoothly, but there are also days when the weather is harsh. The waves are big and the wind is strong. Causing the ship to sway violently. When the storm comes, everything becomes more dangerous than ever. The waves are as high as a vertical wall of water, ready to sink the ship at any moment. The fishermen cling tightly to the rope, trying to keep their balance in the midst of the storm. But no matter how fierce the waves are, they still do not give up. They understand that, as long as they overcome the storm, the sea will be calm again, and the giant squids are still waiting for them below. There are times, in the middle of the dark night, they look up at the starry sky, feeling their smallness in the vast universe. But at that moment, they saw more clearly than ever the meaning of their work. They not only caught squid to make a living, but also preserved a long-standing tradition, a profession that has sustained generations of Japanese fishermen. And so, day or night, rain or shine, the ships continued to set sail. The fishing lines continued to be lowered. Carrying the hopes, carrying the dreams of the children of the sea. The days drifting at sea seemed to last forever. There was no clear concept of day or night, only work that continued to follow work. When a catch was just pulled up, it was time to prepare for the next drop. Sometimes, a squid was pulled up but not completely exhausted. It thrashed about on the deck, its giant tentacles thrashing about with great force, forcing the fishermen to retreat, waiting for the opportunity to approach and safely take it down. This scene was not for the faint-hearted. An adult squid can grow to several meters long, weigh hundreds of kilograms, and despite having no backbone, it is terrifyingly strong. Giant squid are not like ordinary seafood. They are mysterious creatures of deep ocean, very difficult to find and rarely appear near the surface. Even the most experienced fishermen are sometimes surprised by their incredible size and strength. Each time a large squid is caught, it is a feat, an affirmation of the skills, experience and courage of the workers. After subduing the squid, they begin the preliminary processing process right on the ship. Some parts of the squid have very high economic value, especially the tentacles and the nutritious body. Sharp blades quickly cut the meat, separating each part to preserve in cold compartments. If the squid meat is not processed properly, It will quickly lose quality, affecting its value when brought to shore. Therefore, the fishermen do not allow themselves a moment of negligence. Their hands are too familiar with this job. The cuts are neat, decisive, without any unnecessary movements. On the deck, the atmosphere is always bustling. The voices of people calling to each other, the sound of machinery operating, the wind whistling through the sails, and the constant sound of waves. The fishermen, though very familiar with the sea, are always on guard. Even the slightest mistake can have unpredictable consequences. A sudden wave can sweep everything away. An overstretched fishing line can snap back and cause serious injury. There is no room for carelessness here. As the days pass, each hold of the ship is gradually filled with pre-processed giant squid. When the number reaches the desired level, the fishermen know it is time to return to land. But even the return journey is not simple. The sea can change at any time. Storms can arise suddenly. High waves can turn a smooth trip into a fight for survival. They are very familiar with it, but never take it lightly. When the ship finally docked, a sense of relief filled everyone's faces. Despite their fatigue, they could not hide their joy at seeing the full cargo, the result of many days of hard work. The giant squids would soon be transported to processing plants, to the hands of top chefs, and become exquisite dishes on the banquet table. But for the fishermen, joy is not only in economic value. They love their work, love the feeling of conquering the ocean, love the moments of overcoming difficulties together. Soon, they began to prepare for the next trip. That is the life of a fisherman. It never stops. The ocean always beckons. The giant squids are still lurking in the deep, and those resilient men will set sail again, continuing the never-ending journey.